All right, we're live. It is December 31st. This is our last meeting, 2020. And this is our weekly development meeting. So let's go ahead and start introductions with Nate.
Hello, I'm Nate Lampton in Oakland, California. And yeah, this is the last meeting before the 118 feature freeze. So I'm excited to go over the things that are likely to get completed in the next couple of days. Let's see, Luke, can we get an intro from you?
Sure. I'm Luke McCormick in San Ramon, California. I'm a web developer manager type. And I talk too much, so I'll just flip it to, can I say Mamadou?
My name is Mahmudul and I am from Dhaka, Bangladesh. And here is already 1st January. So Happy New Year. And I am system administrator in TenCore. And I am managing Linux servers. So I checked security stuff about CMS first. And I found Backdrop CMS is fast and secure. So Tim, please.
Sure, I'll go next. I'm Tim Erickson in username St. Paul Tim. I am coming to you from Deerwood, Minnesota, and yeah, just here to check up on what priorities are in our last few days before feature freeze. Joseph.
Hi, I'm Joseph Light. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, and yeah, working on back-end stuff. Jen, I guess, did you go?
Nope. I'm Jen Lampton from Oakland, California. Yeah, I guess that's it. Did anybody not introduce themselves? Phil, did you go already?
I did not. Phil Ward out of Wichita, Kansas. I'm just kind of here to help throw out some ideas and help where I can.
Great. All right. This week we have one new member to Backdrop Contrib. DJ Zwerg. I'm not sure if I'm saying that as intended, but I gave it a shot. Ported the pack and upload module, got their maintainer application, I think, approved, and the module is in Backdrop Contrib, so that's fantastic. Yep, new people coming in. This week we also had 2 brand new modules released, UberCurrent discounts and visitors. So thank you everybody for continuing to work on Backdrop Contrib. This past week, I also wanted to say a special thank you to BW Panda, who's been working on getting our tugboat sandboxes set up for backdropcms.org properties. So if anyone wants to make a change to the main website, they'll be able to do that, file a pull request, and then we can test the change to the main website in the same way that we test pull request changes for Backdrop Core. So that's coming along well too, which is great. All right, let's turn over to Nate to talk about Backdrop.
All right. So as always, we'll go over 117 first. There's just a couple of items here that are on the agenda. We have lots of issues that are in the bug fix queue, though, and lots of things that have been moving forward this past week. One item that we haven't yet merged is the regression from 117.2 that the MySQL 8 supports breaks database queries across databases, which is particularly affecting CiviCRM. So 4745, that ticket or that issue has been marked RTBC. So that will be probably moving in shortly. Another sort of regression is field set CSS. The collapsible CSS in the 7 theme sometimes can look a little bit wonky. We have issue 4766 to help address that. It's marked needs review, but we've had multiple reviewers say that it's an improvement on what we have currently. So I'm tempted to proceed with that one as is, because we haven't actually had any notes of any problems with the new CSS, so it seems like it's probably ready to go. But it's currently still marked needs review.
Not anymore.
Did you just mark it RTBC? Nice. Okay. Yeah, nothing like saying that should probably be RTBC, but it's not for some reason. And then, yeah, it doesn't take much. Now it is. Okay, next up, site gets stuck in maintenance mode when updating modules, issue 3956. It needs review. There's a pull request there. Gregory Klonos said that he was going to take a look at it, but we haven't gotten around to that yet. That could use some additional eyeballs at the code that is there. Setting a reasonable, or sorry, this is actually display a warning for max input vars if it's too low, issue 3824. This hasn't seen work too recently, but it needs some work still.
The current debate is on what text to put in the alert message to people. So if anyone wants to help us with that, I think that's the last step there.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like that's something I should take a look at too. That would be nice to, because I haven't seen any of what's happening there. Let's see. Remove the block title from the search box, issue 3476. This is an issue that just removes the word search or gives an option to remove the word search from the search box, which is currently displayed it's displayed 3 times on the same block, which is a bit excessive. So 3476 changes that configuration. The pull request needs to be updated to match the objective. There's pictures of what we want, and then the pull request is doing something slightly different. And so it looks like the pull request needs to be updated to match the screenshots that are what the final goal is, which I think is just a change in the configuration. But yeah, that issue has been open for a long time as something that was simple, but keep going back and forth about what it is that we want to do. And lastly, the views or behavior sometimes doesn't work as expected. The issue is 3415. Last we saw on this one, the sandbox is no longer working and it just needs to be rebuilt. The pull request might need to be rebased as well. I'm not quite sure how much additional work is there, but the sandbox isn't working for people to test out the pull request currently. And that's it for the items that we bring up for the next bug fix release. There are a total of 64 issues in the 117.5 milestone, 13 issues that have been closed since the last release. That's great. We're making some progress getting through the current bug list. But of these 117.5 ones, hang on, let me check the count here. There are 5 RTBC ones. That's awesome. I'm working through those today. And let's see. And there are an additional 9 works for me pull requests. So that's great. There's lots of things that are really close to completion for the next bug fix release. Let's see. 118. 118 will be the next minor version of Backdrop. It will be coming out January 15th, 2021. As always, we have 3 releases a year. They always occur on the 15th of, let's see, what is that? January. What's the one that, is that April? May. January, April, and January, May, and September. There we go. 3 times a year. And we haven't missed one yet, and I doubt that this will be any different. So January 15th will be the release of 118. Feature freeze normally is on the 1st of the month, but because if feature freeze lands on a holiday, we push the first weekday. That makes it so that feature freeze is going to be January 4th. That's Monday. And as always, what that really means is a little bit fuzzy. We can still commit stuff pretty much anytime on January 4th, but our hope is that we really get things wrapped up as for what we expect to be in 118 by the end of the weekend. So let's go over what it is that we've got here. we've got a number of items that have been merged into 118, and we'll only go over these ones that we're still working through. And we'll start off with the issue that HerbDuel is advocating for, providing an option to skip deleting the config staging files after config sync, issue 4447. Jen reviewed that. Thank you very much, saying that we needed an update hook, which is correct. HerbDuel added the update hook. Now this needs just the final review. I already reviewed it as well. It looked great, other than the update hook thing. And so I think this is very, very close to completion. Just needs one last review. Jen, that's another good one. If you want to mark RTBC, you can do that right now. Okay, next up is exposed file name filter for the media dialog, issue 3293. Lauren has been the advocate for this, and he has been getting some help from El Muche, which has been very helpful. This has been on my list to do code review. Yeah, and Lauren posted 2 days ago saying that a few weeks ago he said he was going to look at it, but he hasn't yet, and that's true. So I'm hoping I'll be able to get to review that either today or over this weekend when we do the code sprint. So that still needs review on the approach. Next up is adding a setting to the menu block for changing the breakpoint at which the hamburger appears, issue 4663. BW Panda is the advocate for this. It has been reviewed and reviewed and reviewed, and this is currently marked works for me. It needs final review to mark RTBC, but I think this has been reviewed so many times. I think the approach is all solid. I think Indigo Zella tested it in 6 different themes. So it's all looking really, really good here, I think. I'm not sure what, if anything, is really necessary there. So that could be another one that we could move to RTBC. But maybe you should actually look at that one.
If we could test that one on sites with custom themes to make sure that the custom themes aren't modified in any way, because it does do a lot of reworking of how CSS is added to the page. And so if you have a custom theme and you've added CSS to the page, there's a lot of risk that that could cause problems.
Yeah, so that's the thing that Indigo Zella took a look at. She was checking like if it worked with contrib themes and her own custom theme, and the updating just to the new version with the change applied didn't affect it because it's exactly the same output. But if she enabled the option to use it, then it was hit and miss whether or not it worked with a contrib or a custom theme or
I'm more
not.
concerned about people who don't enable the options. The output's the same, but the order the style sheets is added in is different. And so if you altered that in your custom theme at all, you might run into issues. So I don't know if anyone has. Could be that nobody using Backdrop has done that, so we're totally fine. But it would be nice if we get more people tested.
Okay. Next up is Tim, your issue for relabeling the full HTML text format to raw HTML, issue 4499. It says here RTBC. Do you have any additional information there?
Nope. I haven't heard anything since we market RTBC, so if anybody has concerns, they better speak up quick.
Yep, it's been RTBC since a long time, almost 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time for feedback in an RTBC issue, so I think that one is probably going to move in shortly. This is great. I love going through all of these items. It's like this one's almost done, and this one's almost done, and this one's almost done. I think that we're in really good shape for completing a lot of these items. Maybe. Let's go on to the next ones. Let's see. Next up, we have advanced caching, adding cache tags, and better support for the max age header, issue 4127. Joseph, you're the advocate for this issue. Do you have any updates?
I have not worked on it since last week, so not really.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear at this point that this isn't going to be 118 material, but it's still great for us to be making progress in this one.
I think I'm gonna have some time to work on that this weekend, although I'm not sure I'll have it ready by code freeze.
Yeah, considering we haven't had anyone look at it, I don't think besides yourself. So
Right.
yeah.
I think it might be a good idea to like get it in early after 118 goes out so that it can have a full release cycle to be tested.
Yeah, totally. Okay, great. Let's see. Next up, Jen, you advocated for this issue, 4728. A field has value visibility condition for layout blocks. What's the update on this issue?
So there's been no update in the last week, but I think we have a plan. I think maybe since the last week, Doc Wilmot said whatever we want to do is fine. So that's it.
What
you
was
wanna-
there any concern about the approach at all, or?
So the user interface on the Drupal 7 solution was not great. And so I wrote a new interface so that it used to be like every content type and field were listed in a select list. And so it exploded. It was too much. I think I'm getting this right. And now it's set up so you only get every content type and then you can choose the field on the second form. So it makes it a little bit better of an experience. And my input widget is really rudimentary. It's just like a text field and you have to type in a value. So you're sort of matching what's in the database. But Doc Wilmot's solution uses the field that the field API uses. Or maybe not, maybe it's one that Views uses. You know how when Views lets you do a filter, it gives you like a certain filter for different types. So it's like a taxonomy term, you get the option to choose multiple values or whatever. So it uses whatever that widget is, which is better than mine. And so I want to take the code from his conversion of the panels plugin and add it to my core pull request and see if we can get the best of both worlds. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Let me know when you need some testing on that. That one's close to me, so yeah, I'm willing to put in time on that.
Great, thank you.
So I maybe I didn't read this issue closely, but it says I had thought that this was just checking, does the field have any value or not? But this is actually saying, does this field have a particular value as well? Yeah, that's quite a bit larger problem than just saying, is it empty?
There was a problem with the Drupal 7 implementation. Funny that you should mention, does the field have any value? Because it was struggling with like null or empty values. And so now there's a solution for that, but we've got to include it in our version 2.
Okay. Yeah, we could. I'm not sure if this is something you'd like to do, but those could be separate problems. You know, we could have a visibility condition for has any value versus has particular value, but I can see actually why having them be combined into a single one, because then you don't have to choose which one is right, you know, would be
In the
preferable.
UI, there's like an option for like is null or is empty. In addition to like is one of, is any of, like so I think that's the same pattern we're going to be using here.
For me, using this on panels, I would just leave it blank. So if it was a text field, I would just leave it blank, and that was null. And that was the problem I was running into, was that leaving it blank, it was not recognizing that it was null, that it was blank, and so it would still show information until you do that CTools access patch that fixes that. This also would expand into paragraphs, for example. So if I was doing visibility on a paragraph and I just didn't physically I didn't want it to actually show anything of the paragraph, then it's like, if the paragraph has not been created, then don't do anything. Or if it hasn't been created, do something. So that was a null value as well, was, you know, whether or not that reference to a paragraph had been created or not created. And it's worked extremely well for me in my scenarios that I use it in.
That's great.
All right. Well, that actually sounds like that's a big problem, Jen, that you're undertaking. So, because the views configuration is quite extensive, which would be awesome to have that same functionality. And
yeah, we have the existing panels plugin, and we're just trying to port it to Backdrop. So hopefully the end result will be all of Doc Wilmot's port plus a slightly new interface, and we won't change anything else. But we'll see how simple that turns out to be.
Yeah.
And this is not too big to get in this 1.18 or
TBD.
It could be time to make compromises and then iterate. Like that's
sure.
that's usually a good approach to
Yeah.
get something in. Yeah.
That port that Doc has out there, I'd say that's about 90% there in that contrib. It just the null values. That was the only piece that I saw, a glaring piece that needs fixed. But then also it was wanting to basically allow you to pick any field from any node. And so that needs to be narrowed down to taking the context of, of the block or of the layout to where it only is going to show you fields on what you're actually working with instead of every single field in the entire system.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the UI.
Yeah, and that's the piece I think that's going to take some time to get figured out.
Great. Okay. Phil, could you actually keep going if you would be willing to give us an update on the next issue, which is merge all of the update pages into a single page, issue 2714. This is Gregory's issue that he's advocating for. He and Indigo Zell have been going back and forth an awful lot. With Phil, you've also been commenting on this issue recently. Would you be available to give us an update on this?
I don't know if I'm the best person for that update. I had just thrown out some ideas regarding being able to pick and choose updates, which Greg said that, yes, that's totally available and it's not going to be an issue. I'm honestly not exactly sure how far along he is in that, but kind of from what I've seen, it's looking pretty good. I think it's getting pretty close to being there.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting that vibe as well. The pull request is in. Indigo Zala has been reviewing both the code and the interface, so those things have been greatly appreciated. I haven't had a chance to look at this yet, but yeah, I'm optimistic about this one. Could conceivably be completed, even though it just got into the public realm like a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, this would be great. All these different update pages going away and pointing at one would be a big improvement. Okay, that's it for the 118 issues. There are also a number of 118 issues that have been completed. Hang on, I'll pull up the list here. I guess this might not be particularly exciting, but we did merge something that we only put into 118. And that was changing the expires header that used to, it's fun Drupal trivia fact that the expires header is just any random date in the past. And in all of Drupal's history, that has been Dries, the founder of Drupal's birthday, as being that expires header. And there was an issue 48-27 opened by Alan Mells that suggested maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. And so we changed the expires header that is now just simply Backdrop's birthday, the release of Backdrop 1.0. And that fulfills the same need as being any date in the past. So that's kind of an interesting change that will be in 118 that just kind of separates us a little bit further from the Drupal history.
Was that an htaccess issue?
It doesn't affect htaccess. I mean, it's not in the htaccess file. It's just when Backdrop sets its header, and really even setting the expires header is kind of a non-issue at this point, because the expires header it's a deprecated header that is only used by old HTTP clients, ones that are using HTTP 1.0, which is basically nothing at this point. So we could have actually just removed it, honestly, but this decision about let's change it, and as BW Panda found, the date of Dries's birthday is not just in the expires header, it's also strewn throughout tests and various other places wherever we need a date. And so he went around and fixed or changed every one of those examples as well. So that was great. Okay, that's it. For the 118 updates, let's see. We also have initiatives. I'm not sure that there's been things that that are notable here. Documentation. We'd like to increase the documentation processes and keep it up to date. This is an initiative that isn't really quite an initiative, just something we'd like to discuss. We had a pull request this week actually that BW Panda added extensive new documentation for Pound States, the Form API property, that is notoriously difficult to understand. And I don't think he can really help the difficulty of its understanding with documentation, but he did add a lot more examples into the Form API documentation about how to deal with ORing different conditionals together. So that was very cool and much appreciated.
And Gregory did a nice blog post on the topic.
Oh, even better. Because that way, because every time I write a Pound States, I have to search for it. Let's see. Next up, telemetry. Tim, do we have any updates on telemetry?
Unfortunately, no, nothing. I just have not had time.
Yeah, same. And then last up is the Ready to Wear initiative. I'm not sure if you guys covered that. You guys usually do during the design call. Did that get covered in the call before this today? No.
It didn't today.
Well, Luke, any updates on Ready to Wear?
Nothing super major. Like it's close. I'm negotiating with my hosting provider to try to get a new version of the dev module of the. I'm laughing because it's Tim. It's my hosting provider.
I was wondering who are you working with, Luke? I thought it was me. Okay.
And it's so overdue. I'm just trying to put it to bed. It's at this point like a blog post away, like an hour of writing text to then have it at MVP, including kind of like what the next steps are. So, and it's been there moving slowly for a couple of weeks. Although I did write an update to a module since then. Which
Did you acknowledge the new theme, Snazzy, last week?
Snazzy.
There's a new theme called Snazzy that came out about a week ago from
No.
Indiegogo.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's on my, so check that out. And Luke, that's all indirectly been inspired by your initiative. So I think Indiegogo made it very clear that that's what inspired her working on this module or this theme.
No, cool. Look, it's definitely moved the ball forward and a lot of backward laterals, if you want to stretch that metaphor to a breaking point. But yeah, no, it's good. All right, so that's the update.
Great. All right, that's it for the product updates. We have some small announcements as well. Tim, we have Backdrop Sprint coming up this weekend. Can you give us some details on it?
Yep, it's on the event calendar for Backdrop. I don't know if I've set up the room yet, the virtual room we used. What did we use? The Jitsi last time, and I think we'll probably do that this time. But it's, I think, noon to, I think I have it scheduled noon to 6 this Saturday from Central Time, which would be 10 to 4 Pacific Time. But whenever anybody's available, they can get online. But I'll try to be in the room, from, again, Pacific Time, 10 to 4. I'll verify that that's the time I scheduled. But yeah,
right.
Yep, that's what the time I have scheduled. So
And that's Saturday,
just go.
Saturday or Sunday?
It's Saturday, so people can continue to work on Sunday if they want, but we scheduled our time for Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay,
Should be fun.
I will be there.
Okay, and then lastly, birthday party. Backdrop birthday party. So January 15th is Backdrop's birthday. I don't know what birthday this is off the top of my head. Is anybody? I think it's the 6th
I don't know either.
birthday.
or
Is that
7th.
right? Because Backdrop came out in 2015,
13.
right? January 15th, 2015. Nice, easy date. I should remember that.
Okay.
So it's the 6th birthday of Backdrop, which is kind of scary in its own way.
So I added this to the agenda without talking to anybody. So, because it's something I thought about recently and then forgot until the meeting had already started. So we have had the last 2 years, we've had some face-to-face birthday parties around the country, or maybe the last 3 years. I don't know. This year, obviously, that's not going to happen. It just occurred to me we could pull together. 6 or 9 months ago, Laren suggested that we do like a Backdrop virtual gaming party, and we never did. So it just occurred to me maybe this is finally time to do something like that.
We do it.
So the 15th is a Friday in the US, I think. Is that right? So
Yep.
anyways, it'll be Friday night if we do it. Well, we'll have to think about the time zone issues and who wants to participate and when we want to do it. And if we should do it on the 15th, or if we should, I learned recently that depending on your time zone, that apparently the Backdrop's birthday is then the 16th in England. So we could maybe justify putting this off till Saturday, so we're not conflicting with. What do people think? Should we do something, and if so, when should we do it?
Yes, on those days, here will be 1.18 launching, so we can party.
You can't participate, or you can?
Yes, we can,
Good.
because launching date 1.18, so also
Right.
a birthday, so we can.
Yeah, from my perspective, launching or releasing the Backdrop
Mhm.
118 and having the birthday party on the same day is always a little bit stressful.
Right.
But honestly, I prefer that way as having like an extra cause for celebration. Like I like I like it all happening at the same time. Like, yeah, we just released 118 and it's Backdrop's birthday. That's like multiple reasons to celebrate, even though it's slightly stressful. But
It's also a motivator for getting our act together before the 15th, so that all you have to do on the 15th is get the release and not be merging.
which is the way our releases usually go. I'd say 2 out of 3 releases for a minor version, especially, there's nothing that happens like the last day or the last 24 hours. It's just literally the release. Unlike bug fix releases where we're putting stuff in all the way up until the last second, almost every single release.
Well, I was going to make the counter argument that the problem is that in the past, the birthday party has been local. So you could work all day on the release and then you could party in the evening. If we do that this year, most of the world is going to be asleep.
Yes, good point.
At the end of the day, and so our European and so, but it occurred to me that we always run into the sleep problem, and maybe what we do is we start the party on Friday night in the U.S. and then do something on Saturday afternoon.
24-hour party.
Not 24 hours straight, but maybe we have 2 blocks. We have a block on Friday night and a block on Saturday afternoon that other people can participate.
Yes.
All right, the Backdrop dance-a-thon.
So for me, it's 16th.
People be okay with that? We could see, and we could see if people, we could have people sign up, so and make sure that people are there for the both of them. But I don't know, or we could just do it Saturday. But I feel like just doing something Friday is going to exclude quite a few people.
But I think it's from US time, so use its US standard time. Its EST will be fine because it's made this time. So whatever it is, so make it as a
Well, anybody
California
else?
time.
They
Quick
would
thoughts.
just choose a time and put up a sign up, and if people resist, then we'd say what works for you, and then we can do
Okay.
adjustments or additions.
Okay, I'll try and figure this out offline.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it. That's all we have for today. Do you guys have anything else you would like to discuss before we close?
Got a quick question. Let me pull that back up here. 47, 48, that issue. Is there any way we can put a milestone on that? I know we were planning on, we're thinking about adding that in with the other HT access change, but I don't know what milestone that went on.
Interesting. Yeah, I posted a comment on this one. So this is the Brotley support issue, which is just, it is an HT access change. It's a one-liner, real simple. I was kind of hoping that John would come back in and concede on this, that like that there was some argument about whether or not it's necessary or whether or not we should be supporting Brotley at all or other compression algorithms. But yeah, we haven't gotten that. So, but yes, we can add it into the next milestone. What should happen here, Phil, if we follow our processes, is that you should give it the tag milestone candidate. That's basically like a request saying, I would like it to be in the next issue, milestone candidate bug. And then somebody basically comes in and seconds it, and I can do that, saying, yeah, I think that this should be the next release, and then we add the milestone tag. So if you would add the label milestone candidate bug, then I'll remove that label and then add it to the next milestone.
Perfect. All right.
It's done. It's done. Somebody did it.
That was me.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of curious about that. I know we talked about it a couple of weeks back, and then I wasn't sure what that HT access change. You said there was another one that's coming down the pipe, but I didn't know. Really, it'd be good to have both of those put in at the same time. But fortunately, this one, if it doesn't get put in, it's not going to really affect most people anyway.
So it seems to me that this might be hung up by the fact that it says it needs testing, and nobody other than Phil maybe knows how to test it. Or so does, yeah. What do we need for testing on this to move it forward?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking anybody that can answer.
Okay. Really, yeah, just a server platform that is going to dynamically serve Brotley as the content encoding,
Okay.
And push that over, over gzip. So an Apache server with mod Brotley, I would recommend just disable mod gzip. And that way, make sure that your pages are being dynamically compressed with mod Brotley. And then from there, it should be a matter of when you enable in performance the aggregate and compress CSS files, and it should be doing the same with the JavaScript. That should be what's creating your gzip files, which then creates the problem with double compression with Brotley.
Well, I think to get this moved forward, we just need to ask somebody that's able to do this to do it, right? And test it. Or Nate, are you going to need one more tester before you can commit this?
Well, I think it would be good to have additional testing, but we could also, I feel that this patch is applying a fix that Drupal has already applied that has had multiple testers on this exact same change, and I feel like that's sufficient testing.
Okay. Good.
I don't see anything that this would break with anybody's site. So yeah, I think I don't see it as being a high risk issue of needing a whole lot of testing on our end.
Yep,
Okay.
I agree.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, let's close then. I'm working today through the RTBC queue, which just got a lot bigger after this meeting. So I'll be going through those today, and I'm trying to get through the 118 list and at least provide a comment on all of these items that we discussed today. So I'm hoping to get feedback on all of those issues so that, well, as we close in on the 118 deadline and as we get to the code sprints, hopefully everybody will have what they need to move forward on these items. So anything else? Okay, let's call it a meeting. Thank you all. Mohamedou left, but I was going to say Happy New Year again.
Yeah.
But thank you guys all for joining. Thank you out there for our regular viewers that watch these meetings, and thanks everybody for all of the hard work they've been doing on Backdrop. So, till next time. See you next year.
Bye.